6. Buddhabhadra of Daochang Temple in Chang'an during the Jin dynasty. Buddhabhadra, or Juexian in Chinese, was originally surnamed Shakyamuni, a native of Kapilavatis and an offspring of Amartodana. His grandfather, named Dharmadeva, or Facian in Chinese, traveled to northern India for business and settled down there. His father, named Dharmasuriya or Juari, passed away at a young age. Buddhabhadra became an orphan at the age of 3, living with his mother. Then, his mother died when he was 5, so his maternal grandfather adopted him. Buddhabhadra's paternal uncle learned about his intelligence and pitied his orphanhood, thus taking him in and making him a monk. At the age of 17, Buddhabhadra was studying recitation with some classmates. While the tasks took the others a month to accomplish, he could complete them within a day. The teacher marveled aloud. A day for Buddhabhadra equals 30 days for others. After his full ordination, he learned the Buddhist teachings assiduously and read a wide range of classics, understanding many laws and practices. Buddhabhadra gained fame for his knowledge in meditation and Vinaya. He often traveled to Jiban with his school friend, Senchiadaduo. After they were acquainted for many years, although Senchiadaduo admired his friend's wisdom, he did not really know the latter. At one time, Senchiadaduo sat meditating in a room with the doors closed. Suddenly, he saw Buddhabhadra coming in. Surprised, he asked, "Where are you coming from?" Buddhabhadra answered, "I just went to Tusita heaven to salute Maitreya Bodhisattva." It was only then that Senchiadaduo learned that his friend was a sage, and that he was not in the position to measure his friend's power. After that, Senchiadaduo witnessed his friend's supernatural power again several times and eagerly learned from him, whereupon he knew that Buddhabhadra had attained the third fruit of arhathood. Non-returning, Buddhabhadra aspired to preach in different directions based on the customs and conditions he observed in various countries. At that time, Xian the Chinese monk came to Jiban. Seeing local sramanas were pure and clear in mind, he sighed towards the east. A great number of Dharma friends have been looking for Buddha Dharma yet have not met with a virtuous teacher, so they could not be enlightened. Thereupon, Xian inquired to local people about eminent monks who would be able to spread the Dharma in China. People answered, a Sramana named Buddhabhadra was born in Nagarahara, India to a noble family where Buddhism was practiced for generations. He joined the monastic order in his boyhood and comprehended the sutras. He studied under Chan Master Buddhasena in his youth. Buddhasena was in Jiban at the moment and told Xian, Buddhabhadra is the one who can discipline the order and spread the meditation practice. Xian thus requested him, repeatedly with sincerity. Buddhabhadra then agreed out of compassion. Thereupon he said farewell to his teachers and disciples, and prepared rations for the eastbound trip. Walking for 3 years and suffering the heat and cold, he crossed the Pamirs and passed through 6 countries. In the southeast, the monarchs admired his Dharma transmission endeavor from afar and made offerings to him with homage and generosity. After arriving in Cochin, he followed a grand fleet sailing on the sea. Passing by an islet, Buddhabhadra pointed to it saying, "We can have a rest here." The captain replied, "Time is precious to travelers. We are lucky to have wind from the southeast now, so we cannot stop here." Continuing to sail for some 100 miles, the wind veered its direction abruptly, and the vessel was blown back to the islet they just passed by. Then everyone understood why Buddhabhadra had suggested staying there and respected him as their teacher, following his instructions. Later on, the tailwind came, and other ships departed, but Buddhabhadra said, "Stay still." The captain then stayed there. The departed ships, however, soon capsized. One night, Buddhabhadra suddenly asked everyone to sail, but no one would listen to him. He then cast off and left alone. The rest of the crew was ravaged by pirates afterwards. Later, Buddhabhadra arrived in Donglai Prefecture, Qingzhou. He heard that Kumarahiva was in Chang'an and headed to him. The latter was very glad to meet him. They discussed the truth of all dharmas, the principles, and the laws, learning greatly in many ways. Buddhabhadra told Kumarahiva, "Your explanations on the doctrines are in the ordinary scope of reasoning. Why did you gain such an honorable reputation?" Kumarahiva answered, "It is merely because I am older in age. The praises may be exaggerations." Every time that Kumarahiva had questions or doubts, he would go to Buddhabhadra for advice. The contemporary prince, named Yao Hong, would listen to sermons by Buddhabhadra and gathered an assembly in his palace, where Kumarahiva and Buddhabhadra had a few rounds of discussions. The former asked, "Why would you say that phenomena are empty?" The latter replied, "All material forms are constituted by particles and have no self-existence. Hence the composed, evolving material forms have no independent characters, thus they are eventually empty." Kumarahiva continued to ask, "Since you explained the emptiness of all phenomena with particles, how could you elucidate the emptiness of particles?" Buddhabhadra returned, "Some among the masters here may explain each particle, and that was not my point." Kumarahiva followed up, "Are the particles that constitute phenomena eternal?" Buddhabhadra answered, "Due to each particle, the aggregate of particles is empty. Due to the aggregate of the particles, each particle is empty." The interpreter at that time was Xian. He did not understand the words. The monastics and laymen believed Buddhabhadra's idea was that the smallest particles were eternal. A few days later, monks studying the teachings in Chang'an requested for Buddhabhadra to expound once again. He said, "All dharmas in the universe cannot arise by themselves, but they come to exist dependently on conditions. Because from each particle comes forth aggregates of particles, whereas each particle has no independent existence and is hence empty. How can you say that particles are real and eternal without analyzing each of the particles?" This was the key message of the discussions between Kumarahiva and Buddhabhadra during the assembly. Yao Xing, the emperor of the later Qin dynasty, paid great attention to Buddhist studies, offering alms for 3,000 monks who came in and out at the imperial court to enjoy social contacts. Only Buddhabhadra differentiated from the others by pursuing calmness. Later, he told his disciples, "I saw 5 ocean-going vessels set to sail in my hometown yesterday." The disciples passed the words to the others soon, and the monastics in the Guanzhong area thought the saying was a trick to show off his supernatural power and deceive people. In addition, Buddhabhadra promoted meditation in Chang'an. Monks looking for inner peace flocked to him from all directions. However, these people were at diverse states of Buddhist cultivation with various understandings of the Dharma. Some among them were shallow ones who would cheat their way down the path. One disciple, who learned to practice mindfulness from a young age, claimed to have attained anagaman, the 3rd stage of arhathood. Before Buddhabhadra could investigate into it, rumors saying the teacher would encounter disaster had already spread. Thereupon, his disciples ran away instantly, climbing over the walls and hiding their names. Within half a day, almost all of his disciples disappeared, yet Buddhabhadra did not mind. At that time, Senchi and Daoyan, monks who stayed in Guanzhong for a longer time, told him the Buddha did not freely tell the facts he saw with his superpower, and you told the others about the 5 coming vessels without evidence. Plus, your disciples cheated and disapproved of each other. Since you breached the precepts, we should not get along anymore. You have to go immediately. Buddhabhadra answered, I am as free-floating as duckweed, staying or leaving is not a question to me. It is a pity that my aspirations have not been accomplished. Then, he departed at ease with his disciples, Huiguan and 40 others. Those who knew the truth felt sorrowful. Over 1,000 monastics and laymen came to say goodbye. Yao Xing learned about his departure and told Daoyang with regret, Buddhabhadra, the Buddhist's Ramana, came to preach the Dharma, but he has not talked much. It is really a pity. How can we let tens of thousands of people lose the teachings just because of one mistaken sentence? Then, he sent for him by decree. Buddhabhadra told the envoy, I now have been informed of the emperor's decree, yet I cannot follow it, and left at night, heading to Mount Lu. Wei Yuan the monk had heard about Buddhabhadra's moral reputation for a long time. Like meeting an old friend, it was a pleasant surprise for him to know that the Grand Master was heading to Mount Lu. Wei Yuan believed that Buddhabhadra was rejected in Chang'an due to his disciples' faults. The prediction of 5 vessels was not different from what the Buddha had prophesied, and it did not breach the precepts. Wei Yuan asked his disciple, Tanyi, to send a letter to Yao Xing and monks in Guanzhong area to reconcile the conflict. He also invited Buddhabhadra to translate doctrines in regard to meditation. The latter was not looking for a comfortable life. He stayed in Mount Lu for over a year and left for Zhongling in the south, where he really saw foreign vessels. Asking about these 5 ships, they were truly from India. These were the ones he had seen previously. The people in Zhongling competed to pay homage to Buddhabhadra with offerings. He did not accept any of them, instead holding the bowl for alms and begging from the rich and the poor equally. Yuan Bao in Chen Prefecture was secretary for Emperor Wu I of the Lu Song dynasty at the time. When Emperor Wu tried to conquer Lu Yi in the south, Yuan Bao came along and stayed there. Once, Buddhabhadra led his disciple Huiguan to beg for alms from Yuan Bao, who did not respect Buddhism, thus treating Huiguan in an irreverent manner. Buddhabhadra would leave before he ate his fill. Yuan Bao said, You do not seem to have enough. Why do you not stay for more food? Buddhabhadra replied, The almsgiver has a limited mind of dana, which exhausted the meal. Yuan Bao instantly asked attendants to refill the bowls, but the rice cooker was really empty. Yuan Bao felt ashamed. Later he asked Huiguan, Who was this Ramana? Huiguan told him, He is a highly cultivated practitioner. His level cannot be understood by ordinary people. Yuan Bao was amazed and reported this to the marshal. The latter requested the presence of Buddhabhadra, respecting him and providing him a lot of offerings. Before long, the marshal returned to the capital too and invited Buddhabhadra to go there with him, settling the great master in Daocheng Temple. Buddhabhadra wore simple attire, which was different from Chinese style. He had high expectations and aspirations and comprehended the Dharma profoundly. Master Sengbi in the capital wrote to Baolin the monk, The Chan master in Daocheng Temple has bodhicitta equal to our talents like Wang Bai and He Yan. That is how Buddhabhadra was praised by his contemporaries. Previously, Ji Failing the monk acquired the first half of the Avatamsaka Sutra, which consisted of 36,000 gathas, and did not translate it. In the 14th year of the Yaxi period, Meng Yi, the Secretary of Justice from Wu Prefecture, and Chu Shudu, the general of the Right Army, invited Buddhabhadra to translate it. Holding the Sanskrit version, with monks Fei, Wei Yi, Weiyan, and 100 others, Buddhabhadra rendered this scripture into Chinese. That is why there is still an Avatamsaka hall at Daocheng Temple. In addition, Faxian the monk acquired the Sanskrit version of the Mahasamjika Vinaya. In the western regions, He requested that Buddhabhadra translate it into Chinese as well. This story was recorded in the biography of Faxian. Buddhabhadra successively translated the Guanfo Sanmei Hai Jing Sutra on observing the Buddha's ocean of samadhi of 6 fascicles, nirvana, and the Shuxing Fang Bian Lun treatise on the skillful means of cultivation, among other texts, totaling 15 books, or 117 fascicles. He could expound the subtle meanings and precisely express them. Buddhabhadra passed away in the 6th year of the Yuanjia period at the age of 71.